everyone, I'm Meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees here in the WCNC Charlotte Weather Center. As it is such a important day and weekend here, let's just get right to the forecast. It is going to be hot and humid today, especially today and then tomorrow as well. High temperatures today near 90. It'll feel about 10 to 15 degrees warmer than, of course, what the actual air temperature is. We have heavy rain in the forecast today. This could lead to localized flooding, especially in the mountains, based on the fact that they're at higher elevations. And then we eventually do have the risk for some gusty winds, large hail, and even some brief spin up a potential overnight, and especially the mountains. So we're going to get to the forecast here coming up. You might feel like at times some of this is a repetition, but it's just because I want to go through every single thing individually. So this is our severe weather outlook for today. While I don't necessarily agree with the entire area being under a medium risk, I probably would have trimmed that back to just the mountains. The most important thing you need to know at this point is that we do have a slight chance for some rotating storms overnight in the mountains. So if you live in Ashwaubenon, Avery County, the mountains of Caldwell and Burt County, you especially want to make sure that overnight you have those alerts turned on, especially after the 2 a.m. time frame or so, just to make sure that just in case there's one of those tornado warnings, even severe thunderstorm warnings issue, you make sure that you know. You can see that trimmed there into the yellow. That's again Ashwaubenon, Avery County, the most western portions of our viewing area. This does not include the Piedmont, and this is today, pretty much this evening and overnight into tomorrow morning. But for the mountains, this is really specifically the round of storms that comes in tomorrow morning. Now, for the rest of the area, including the Piedmont, our biggest risk is gusty winds. This is very typically the biggest risk when it comes to severe weather in the Carolinas. We've said it before, we'll say it again. Wind is wind. 90% of our severe weather damage comes from strong winds, 60 plus miles per hour. This is not really a big hail event. Large hail considered quarter size or larger, but quarter size or smaller. So quarter, nickel, dime, pea, penny size, certainly a possibility. But this is primarily a gusty wind event. Again, with that chance for some rotation up in the mountains, especially after 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. So let's talk timing here. After about 4 or 5 o'clock, storms moving into parts of the mountains. This is closer to the 6 and 7 o'clock time frame for parts of the Piedmont. Of course, I have had so many questions about what my latest thoughts are on the Coca-Cola 600. As of right now, I still think we're good to go for the 6 o'clock kickoff for the race. Now, because it is the longest NASCAR race of the year, average around 4 hours or so, some slightly shorter, some longer. I do think that there's a decent chance that there could be some disruption between 7 and 8 o'clock potentially, but more likely closer to 8, 8:30. So I would say right now 8 o'clock. I think that's a safe expectation between 7 and 9. That gives you an average. So if it starts at 6 and you say the average Coca-Cola 600 is 4 hours, I think smack dab in the middle, there's a good chance that there could be a disruption. But I said this on air. This is how scattered storms work. There could be a storm in southern Iredell County, a few miles away, that doesn't impact any portion of Cabarrus County, or west, just to the south and west in Mecklenburg County, and doesn't actually impact any place in Cabarrus County. We could have a storm a mile away from the speedway and not have one over the actual speedway. So it really is going to come down to exact location and where the storm is set up. But right now, I would at least prepare for the potential of storms right around that 8 o'clock time frame. So stay weather aware, be aware of the forecast, know that there's the chance for those strong storms, and also just the general threat for some localized heavy rain and some lightning. Now, do I think that these are going to be pockets of heavy rain and slow movers like what happened at the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro? No, I don't think that. In fact, these will be really quickly moving showers and storms. There's 8 o'clock on Futurecast. Here we are as we move forward to midnight. You can see the storms rolling through pretty quickly. Now, that's kind of round number 1. Here's round number 2, and these are the storms overnight that could cause some of those rotating storms up in the mountains. Again, tomorrow morning, we will see some breaks by the middle part of the day. And then for most of the Charlotte area tomorrow, our risk of some of those gusty winds once again will come in with some storms in the afternoon. So what's interesting about today and tomorrow is while we're technically under a medium risk today and a low risk tomorrow, I really think the bigger impact in terms of more storms is tomorrow. So today, most of the day is still dry because the storms don't arrive until much later on in the afternoon. Whereas tomorrow is more of, a few storms in the morning, a break, a few more storms in the afternoon. So hopefully that makes sense. Any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to ask. Download our WCNC Charlotte mobile app. I've updated it with my latest thinking with the exact timing and intensity of those storms, exact temperature readings, exact humidity, and all those things. We will be dry by Monday evening, and then overnight heading into Tuesday, things look to get a ton better. But still a good idea, of course, to be aware of the forecast today and tomorrow, know when the storms are expected to arrive. Again, about 4 to 6 o'clock for the mountains, all the way down to about the I-40 corridor and just south to about northern Lincoln County, southern, or I guess mid-Iredell County. Then 6 to 8 p.m. for most of the northern Piedmont, southern Piedmont down toward the Sandhills, about 8 to 10. I like this graphic because remember, it's thunderstorm arrival time, not necessarily when the storms are going to be added there. So it gives you kind of a good overview. If you were with us really early this morning, I did bump this up by an hour just based on current model data. A lot of our models are running really fast this morning, which I don't necessarily agree with that based on where the storms are right now. But just know, again, 6 to 8 p.m. for arrival time in the Piedmont, but right now it looks closer to 8 for any potential impact to the Coca-Cola 600. So we already went over this, but I just want to give again a general overview. Gusty winds, the primary impact here for the mountains and foothills, localized flooding due to some heavy rain, some quarter-size hail or smaller, a brief spin-up tornado possible. The chance is low, but it's not zero. This is for the mountains and foothills. Again, this evening and overnight, you take away the tornado threat, and it's the same graphic for most of the Piedmont. So again, we don't have the risk there for a spin-up across the Piedmont. Could that change? Certainly, with some of those storms moving eastward, but as of right now, that has not changed. And I was looking at some of the data. It doesn't really look like we have as strong of a signature for some rotating storms as what we have further west. Of course, if that does change, Brad will let you know. KJ will be in later on this evening, so make sure you're keeping a close eye on that forecast. Of course, medium risk today, as I mentioned, but all of those storms are in the afternoon versus tomorrow. We're under that low risk for those storms virtually all day. So we have the storms in the morning, breaks throughout the afternoon. Tomorrow, because we have those off and on storm chances again in the morning, a midday break in the afternoon, I would encourage you to be weather aware all day. Hopefully, if you're trying to get outside, I know I certainly will be trying to get outside and just kind of enjoy the day off, enjoy the holiday. Always a good reminder to remember why we're getting the day off from work and school. I mean, I'm technically always off on Mondays. It's my Saturday, but as we remember and honor, because it is, of course, a day that we're not just, trying to get outside. It's for a very specific and important reason. And so with that being said, as you're out and about later on tomorrow afternoon, just make sure you're keeping a close eye on that forecast, as we will have those storms off and on through much of the day. Later on tomorrow, of course, we have storms. And then by Tuesday, things are looking a lot better. Tuesday also kicks off a new series for the nights at home, and the forecast really looks phenomenal for most of the series, as the last few days of the month from Tuesday beyond into Friday look great. Saturday, shockingly, first day of June, first day of meteorological summer, temperatures actually expected to be in the lower 80s, a little bit more typical for this time of year, right around where we should be under a partly sunny sky. Right now, it looks like we could be dry next weekend, which would be pretty atypical that we have temperatures near 90 with storms. And then for the last weekend of May, and then the first weekend of June is dry. But hey, the Carolinas, it's that time of the year. So as we look ahead to the upcoming week, once we get past today and tomorrow, where we want you to stay weather aware, things do look a lot better as we move forward. So make sure you're keeping a close eye on the forecast. Again, after 6 o'clock, I do think we'll start to see some storms bubble up. I still do think the Coca-Cola 600, as of right now, looks okay to start things off, but between that 7 to 9 o'clock time frame, storms will be getting closer. 8 o'clock is kind of the time right now in my mind that I'm targeting that some storms could get close to the speedway. We will be keeping a close eye on it. I will be watching and tweeting. I'm sure Brad will be watching and tweeting. We are always looking back and forth at things and sending them to each other, as we are both weather nerds like that. But yes, so keep an eye on the forecast. Stay weather aware. Our team's got you covered. If anything happens, we'll be in the studio. We'll be here tracking it for you. And just stay safe. And remember the reason for the holiday, but if you're out and about, we hope that you enjoy yourselves, but also stay safe and stay weather aware. Have a great rest of your Sunday, everybody. Have a great Monday. Have a great week. And I'll see you on the programs next weekend.